Hello everyone, how are you all doing today? I am here to give you all a guide on how to beat Night 6 in Oblitus Casa 2.0. Night 6, while it may seem daunting at first, is actually pretty consistent and not all too bad so long as you keep in mind all that you need to do throughout the mode and have the fundamental skill known as speed. And while it may take a while to get used to it on your first completion, it should quickly become second nature on what to do and how to do it. I'll first go over the general guide on MickMick, Mother, and Inkblot Face, and then go over how to approach the mode itself. For convenience sake, we'll assume that you've already completed Night 5 and have a fundamental understanding on how these characters work. Let's start with MickMick first. On Night 6, MickMick moves pretty quickly, if a bit inconsistently. It doesn't take her very long to speed blitz across the building and reach her office. For this reason, it's important to understand what rooms to leave her in before having to go to the attic to deal with Inkblot Face. It's typically ideal to leave MickMick in either Cam 9 or Cam 7 before entering the attic, as those are the two rooms where she has to move the most spaces before making it into your office. Cam 8 may sound like a second best bet if you're in a hurry to get to the attic, but you'll only have to move 3 times before she reaches you, granted she decides to go left. And plus, Inkblot Face typically shouldn't kill you if you need to wait an extra couple of seconds, unless he's already been up there for quite some time. Anyways, back on track. Which room you'll specifically need to send MickMick to will depend entirely on if you have to either lure her or flash her. If she is in Cam 8, flashing her will send her to Cam 9 no matter what. If she is in Cam 8 and she needs to be lured, however, then it is recommended that you lure her to Cam 7 whenever possible. The reason for this is because whenever MickMick is in Cam 9, she can choose either the left or right path of the building, hence making her more unpredictable and harder to find when the player returns from the attic. However, if she is in Cam 7, she's only allowed to go down the right path, thus making it much easier to know where she'll be going once you return from the attic. After that, it's simply a matter of speed in terms of getting her sent or pushed back to either Cam 9 or 7 before you do the next attic attack. Last thing with MickMick, and this should be a given anyways, but it's incredibly important to know MickMick's paths and where she'll be going at all times. I've made a little guide that showcases all of MickMick's movement options and routes across the building. Moving on, there isn't too much to say about Mother herself. On the cameras, she will appear on the screen after every 2 room switches, which is the same as how Daisy acts on 20 AI. Just make sure to keep your guard up and don't panic if she creates any tight scenarios with MickMick. And please, for the love of God, don't try to flash MickMick out of instinct, especially if Mother is set to appear on the next room switch. If you flash MickMick when you actually have to lure her, and Mother is set to appear on the next room switch, that may likely cost you the run. As for Mother on the notepad, it simply comes down to erasing fast. The most reliable method of erasing sketches in Oblitus Casa is to move your cursor in large, tall ovals. Even if the cursor doesn't always directly hover over the sketch, this will usually get rid of it in no time. In a night like Night 6, optimizing small stuff like this makes all the difference. Finally, there is Inkblot Face. He, of course, attacks 6 times for every attic attack. The fastest method of countering Inkblot Face is to have your mouse set in 2 specific spots, depending on where he is in the attic. It may not look like it, but in his 2 leftmost spaces, the lighter hitbox is just big enough to where it could take care of him if he's anywhere on the left of the attic. Moving your mouse accurately in these 2 spots will likely take some practice, but with time, you should be able to deal with him like this consistently. Now that we've covered the general tips of all the characters, it's now time to go over Night 6 itself. The setup for Night 6 is very simple. MickMick will start in Cam 1 and you must immediately lure her into Cam 7. Wait for her to enter Cam 1 again and send her back into Cam 7 before going into the attic. It's also important to remember that MickMick herself can enter the attic in place of Inkblot Face, so just make sure MickMick is still around before you enter the attic at any time. Granted that Inkblot Face does attack, which will normally happen at the beginning anyways, and you successfully ward him off, congratulations! Now is when we talk about the recovery phase. First off, as soon as you exit the attic, immediately go to the notepad and erase it entirely. This is the only time throughout the night that we will go to the notepad and erase, as doing it any more frequently will just waste time. After the notepad's been taken care of, how we'll check for MickMick on the cams and recover will depend on which camera she was in before we went into the attic. Although it may seem like a wild goose chase to find her if she was in cam 9 prior, since she can go down either path, we only had to check a few cameras for the recovery phase, that being cam 3, cam 4, and cam 6. If MickMick was in cam 9 before the attic attack, check cam 4 and cam 3. As long as you weren't stupidly slow with Inkblot Face, MickMick shouldn't be able to get to cam 6 by the time you start the recovery phase. Checking for cam 4 covers if she went left, and checking cam 3 covers if she went right. If she hasn't appeared in either of those cameras yet, keep checking those two. Don't go to any other cameras, as Mother appearing will complicate things and often just give MickMick an opportunity to slip by and screw your run. Just stick to those two cameras, wait for when she appears in either one, and react accordingly. Then, if she was in cam 7 before you went into the attic, go to cam 6 and wait for her to appear if she isn't already there, and counter her. Then it's just a matter of pushing her back into either cams 9 or 7 before the next attic attack. There's just two other things to keep note of regarding MickMick and the attic. If MickMick herself enters the attic over Inkblot Face, just erase the notepad while MickMick is up there. Once she returns, just keep her confined in cams 9 and 7 until Inkblot Face properly attacks, then start the cycle all over again. Finally, if MickMick has been in cam 9 or 7 for a few seconds, and Inkblot Face just now enters the attic, wait for her to move away from the room she's currently in, and then send her back to cam 9 or 7 before entering. This is mostly so that MickMick doesn't have that few seconds advantage to creep into the office, and as long as you don't play Face like a fool, he shouldn't kill you for waiting for only a few seconds to enter the attic after he goes up there. Alright, let's recap. To start, immediately lure MickMick into cam 7. Wait for MickMick to move into cam 1, and then put her back in cam 7. After this, the first Inkblot Face attack should occur, granted MickMick doesn't enter the attic herself. Once the setup is done, the general cycle of a Night 6 run should look like this. Deal with Inkblot Face, return and immediately erase the notepad in full. Then, find which camera MickMick is in by searching either cams 4 and 3, or by searching cam 6 if she was in cams 9 or 7 respectively. Then, push her all the way to the back of the building until she ends up in cam 9 or cam 7. Once you hear the attic noise and it is Face, make sure MickMick remains in cam 9 or 7 before going up and repeat this cycle. Lastly, before ending the video, I'm going to show a video of what an ideal Night 6 run looks like, just in case anyone needs a visual indicator on what to expect from the night and how it plays out. And that's about it for Night 6. It's a mode that seems very intimidating, but ultimately just takes getting used to. It should be noted that many of the strategies that I listed are not 100% required to beat Night 6, as other players have beaten it without using some of the tips that I've listed. However, I have included the ones that I found to be the most efficient and consistent in order to beat the mode. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know if you'd like me to make guides on any other games or modes, or if you have any questions in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.